Okay, welcome back. It is still your favorite morning show done on VOS TV. And we'll be kickstarting with our newspaper review for this morning. Let's take a look at what is going on in Vanguard newspaper this morning. Yes, the headlines there. I would like to start with the very first headline there. The big picture, I'll call it. All set for second Niger Delta Games. Edo 2026. Yes, the Niger Delta Games that is holding starting tomorrow, February 20th, which will be running till February 27. And I'm sure that Edo is expecting a whole lot of activities, movement, because a lot of persons will be coming into town. So Edo State is really geared up for this one. Our very first time hosting the Niger Delta Games. That's a wonderful one there. Then another headline, the top one says, Tinubu signs executive order to end NNPC's 30% oil revenue quote. Tinubu signs executive order to end NNPC's 30% oil revenue quote. That can be found on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. Failure of institutions deterring FDI in Nigeria, says Tonle Johnson. Failure of institutions deterring FDI in Nigeria, says Tonle Johnson. And the big headline I would like to call for today is the one coming from Mr. President himself. He says e-transmission of poll results can't replace manual. President Bola Tinubu there saying that e-transmission, electronic transmission of poll results cannot replace manual transmission as he signs amended Electoral Act 2026 into law. Another headline there says INEC's position on e-transmission of election results. INEC position on e-transmission of election results. APC congresses, 2 feared dead, 5 injured, vehicles burnt in Ondo. APC congresses, 2 feared killed, 5 injured, vehicles burnt in Ondo. As of yesterday, we also brought you the story where one of the APC's coordinator, chairman, was on the floor. Yes, it means that the Ondo APC Congress is actually very bloody right now for 2 persons to have been killed and others injured. This and some other stories are what are making heads on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. So do well to grab a copy and read the story that interests you for yourself. Let's now move over to the Guardian newspaper and see what the Guardian newspaper has for us this morning. On the Guardian newspaper from the top, IPAC, Obi Flay police clamp down, tear gas of protesters at National Assembly. Holy month, Tinubu, Obi urge spiritual reflection, commitment to shared humanity. Holy month, speaking about the Ramadan fast and the Lent. Tinubu, Obi is urging spiritual reflection, commitment to shared humanity. Reps fault poor funding of security intelligence. House of Reps faults poor funding of security intelligence. And the big headline there says 2027 credibility battles shifts to INEC as Tinubu signs amended Electoral Act. 2027 credibility battles shift to INEC as Tinubu signs amended Electoral Act. And the big picture there is the Electoral Bill 2026 Comprehensive Public Guide. So if you go through, you will see the key highlights of the recently amended electoral bill, talking about how primary elections are to be conducted, also talking about in terms of elite manipulation, implication, electronic transmission, beavers in law, just everything concerning the new amended Electoral Act. You can find the highlights on that picture. You should do well to go through to know what has been approved, what is now in play as regards our elections come 2027. Now to other headlines still on the Guardian newspaper, FCT polls, INEC pledges e-transmission of results. FCT polls, INEC pledges e-transmission of results. Mixed reactions, protests trail Delta APC World Congresses. Mixed reaction, protests trail APC World Congresses. Gencos reject NLC's extortion claims. Six sector battling 6 trillion naira unpaid bills. Gencos reject NLC's extortion claims, says sector battling 6 trillion naira unpaid bills. And another headline there says Tinubu orders NNPC to remit oil revenue to FAC as rig count stagnant. Telcos reject objection to e-result transmission, insist on national coverage. That's the telecommunications company reacting, saying that they are rejecting the objection to e-result transmission, insisting that they can cover the e-transmission nationally. These and some other headlines are making the rounds on the Guardian newspaper, so do well to get an e-copy and read up for yourself. Now let's talk about the big story, Jude. Our dear president has signed the Electoral Act into law, saying categorically that e-transmission should not replace manual. What do you think about this?
Well, he gave his reasons that we are not technologically ready. But is that the reality? Is that the reality?
But here, telcos are even objecting, saying that they are able to cover nationally.
You know, when you see cases of such, you know, the stakeholders that are involved, they are telling you that they can do it, and you are saying they cannot. Yeah? Why are we doing things, you know, like this? It doesn't speak well. The stakeholders that are saying it is possible. This is what we can achieve. We can achieve it. We can do it. And you're saying they cannot. We are not ready. How on earth? How?
Well, it's all right. Let's see how it will pan out.
This issue of network they are even talking about. They are telling you that you don't even need network to upload. The stakeholders, they are telling you that they can do it. That is not difficult. It's achievable.
Because according to the Senate President's statement, when I read through, I was actually now looking, is he not contradicting himself when he says that there might not be network in place? I would like to read what he said categorically. He said that, in his words, that when these results are collated, when the picture is taken using the INEC machine.
BVAX.
Yes, using the BVAX. That when they get to a place where there's network, it automatically uploads by itself. Yes, to the IRF portal. Which means that even if they go to a village where there is no network, as long as they snap it, once the network comes up, it will be able to upload on its own. And does that not contradict his argument of the network issue, making a provision for the clause whereby if network fails, then we revert to paper?
You know, all of this, but they know what they are doing. I must tell you, they know what they are doing. There's kind of, you know, complicity, sharp practices, manipulation. They are doing these things to their favor, not the collective will of Nigerians, not what Nigerians want. They are doing this to rape democracy.
Well, now the ball is in INEC's court, so it means that all eyes now will be on INEC to do the needful as regards the 2027 election. And I'm sure that during the discussion this morning, you will dwell extensively on that.
Yes.
Now let's come to Edo State.
Sorry for cutting you short.
Okay.
It has been signed into law, so let's just hope, because it's not something you can change. It has been signed. So let's just hope that it will give credible elections. Let's not be pessimistic yet. Let's see how it play out. You know,
let's see how it plays out.
27 is fast approaching. Let's just see how it's played out.
All right, now let's come to Edo State. Looking at the Niger Delta games.
Yes.
We've been looking for one to definitely be a part of that. But let's now talk about security. So many persons coming from different states. So how prepared is Edo State in terms of securing the lives of these persons?
You know, those states, well, the security system in Edo States, cannot say that, if I'm to rate it, say 70, 100, but now that they are hosting other states, I think they should up their game. Yes.
That's true.
You know, they should ensure that there is adequate preparations, you know, to safeguard lives and properties, You know, it's very important. Deploy security personnel across nooks and crannies of the state, you know, because you are hosting other states. This is not just an intra-state game.
No.
Okay? It involves other states too. So you should be able to...
Niger Delta states
you should be able to protect them. Should be able to ensure that there is adequate security, you know, to guarantee safety. Yes.
That's very true there in terms of guaranteeing safety, because these persons are coming over, both the athletes, the officials, they're coming over, so they actually need to be kept safe. More security personnel have to be deployed, and I believe that, well, they are well prepared. I'm just optimistic.
Certainly, let's just be optimistic that they are well prepared.
I'm optimistic
yes.
with regards to that. Now let's take a look at this Gencos. You know, NLC came out to say that what is the federal government doing settling the boys, talking about Gencos, with 3 trillion, about 3 billion to 3 billion naira. So now Gencos are coming out to say that NLC shouldn't say that this money that they're talking about is unpaid bills. It is not that federal governments are trying to settle them, but these are bills that have been accumulated over time that they are now paying them back. So we've also had issues whereby Gencos come out to complain that they are being owed because there's still electricity subsidy to an extent. So, but Nigerians will also argue that they are not feeling any subsidy when it comes to their payment for electricity. So what can you say between this clash of Gencos saying that there are unpaid bills, which I believe should be part of the electricity subsidy, and Nigerians complain, and also NLC's take that they should not be settled?
Well, we have to take a look at it from two sides. They are saying that this is what they are being paid is accumulated bills, right?
Yes.
Over the years.
Over the years.
So if government is paying them accumulated bills and not the alleged settlement that you talked about, that some persons are alleged in some quarters, then if it's true, then we should leave it at that. Then if it is not, then something should be done. You shouldn't settle. Say, what are you settling for? Settling for epileptic power supply?
Now,
when you settle, you know,
talking about epileptic power supply, you know that by March, the federal government, Aso will be cutting off from, let me say, NEPA now, permits me to use that word. So, and they're going solar. And Nigerians are like, what does this mean for us? If the government themselves can cut off from the power supply, cut off from the grid, what does this mean for us?
Then the common man who cannot afford it, who cannot afford solar, it should wallow in darkness, right?
But don't you think that this would take out energy? Because I believe that in the government house it consumes energy. So I feel that this will actually create more room for them to have enough energy to distribute to others.
How many is is it not just Aso Rock?
Yes, just
Yeah,
also.
so what is Asoro consuming compared to millions of Nigerians that even if they cut off from the grid? See, things should be done right. Do you get it? We should put things in place to ensure that system work effectively.
That's
Not
true.
just, let's not just do things for doing sake. Take a look at, okay, what are the factors that are causing the situation that we've been facing over the years, epileptic power supply, and let's address them. Removing yourself from the grid and resorting to solar is not the solution. That is being individualistic, self-centeredness. Consider others. The common man, the Nigerian out there that cannot afford
So
solar.
are you saying that the federal government, by their disconnecting from the national grid, they are not being considerate
They
of
should
Nigerians?
not disconnect. They should do the right thing. Disconnecting is not the way out. It's not the way out. Disconnecting, then you disconnect. Let all of us just disconnect. Then provide solar for everyone.
But do you think
in
this country that it's possible for we to move from the national grid to solar, the entire country?
If presidency is doing it, then they should also do it for the common Nigerian there. They should do it for everyone. They should do it for you, do it for me, do it for the common man, the driver out there. They should do it for everyone. Because it's now look as if you are giving yourself elitist treatment, which shouldn't be so.
But they are leaders. I mean, they are leaders. They will argue that as leaders, they deserve the elite treatment, so as they can be able to make laws and do lead aright.
Is that what ought to be? Is that ought to be? No, it's in this part of our world we have reduced normalcy to abnormality. We now accept abnormality as normal. We don't see anything wrong in abnormality. We embrace it. We say, okay, it is not part of us. Let's just when we see the wrong thing now, we don't even consider it as wrong anymore. Abnormality is now normality. So let's have a rethink. I will always say it. Let's do things right. Let us do things right.
I understand your point. However, I still believe that in as much as people are in leadership position, they deserve a little bit of luxury,
and
so that they can be able to, so that they can be
deserve
no,
suffering.
I'm not saying that. Get my point. What I'm saying is that when
so
someone
if
is
the luxury
in position,
if the luxury cannot be distributed collectively, it should be given to the leaders. Then the governors, it can be inferred from your statement that they deserve to suffer.
You are misquoting me. Anyway, let's move on to another story. Let's move on to another story, because with the way I'm saying it here, you don't want to get my point. So let's just end it there.
You're saying that they deserve a little bit of loss. Why?
Because they're leaders.
Oh, the government. So the government, they are not humans.
No, both the governed and the governant or the government deserve equal treatment. But the truth is that you right now, you cannot place yourself in the same position with your supervisor. Or you cannot expect to earn the same amount of salary your supervisor is earning. Amount of work.
Oh.
Yes.
So the luxury, the exotic cars, the private jets of public funds, the looting, the embezzlement.
Siphoning is not part of their public their job description.
It's part of
not. All right.
It's not part of job description.
To round up, to round up,
they deserve the luxury. Even let's be
Jules
realistic.
does not want to end this conversation, but at this point, I am going to end the conversation. Thank you so much
We'll fight in this studio one day.
It's not me and you. I say no to violence. I don't support violence at all. So,
you have to be truthful.
yes, for now, this is all we have for you on the newspaper review. Coming up next is our discussion segment. Do well to stay tuned, and we would love to hear from you. What do you have to say concerning any of the stories that we have brought to you this morning? It is still Dawn on VOS TV, and I'm saying, do not go anywhere.
Thank you for still being there, and welcome to the discussion segment of the program. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday signed into law the 2026 Electoral Act Amendment, just days after the release of the timetable for the 2027 general elections. While the amendment has been welcomed in some quarters, it has also sparked fresh concern among civil society groups, especially over the failure to clearly mandate real-time electronic transmission of election results. Activists argue that transparent elections are not a privilege, but a democratic right. And this morning, we'll be examining whether this amendment law truly reflects the will of Nigerian people or the comfort of the political class. Thank you for joining us on the program. I'm joined here in the studio by Deacon Osamede Natane. Deacon Osamede Natane is a public affairs analyst. Deacon, sir, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, let's take a look at the bill that was signed into law by the president yesterday.
Yes.
Does this represent progression or retrogression?
Well, when you say retrogression or progression, I think these are two words that are relative. depending on what part of the prism you are looking at them from. Now, when you say retrogression, it means going backwards. And progression has to do with forward movement. Now, I think the bill cannot be described as a retrogression, but rather a progression. But the degree of progressiveness is what is in dispute, is what Nigerians are quarreling with. To what extent has it satisfied the yearnings and the aspirations of Nigerians? To what extent has it satisfied the developmental needs of this country? To what extent has it thrown more light on the ability to conduct free, fair, and credible election? To what extent has it satisfied the yearnings of Nigerians? You know, in Nigeria, we tend to sum up agitation, you know, by using one blanket word, civil defense, civil society. Now, within the civil societies, there are a whole lot of mixed potpourri. It's not only students, it's not only businessmen. Within the civil society, what some people don't even know, that there are persons whose genuine intention is not necessarily to do things for the benefit of the masses, but to get their own share of the national cake. So their posture is quite different from those who are speaking generally on behalf of the welfare of the people, those who really want us to move forward. So, but what we are looking at is, for the ordinary Nigerian on the street, what effect is this bill? To what extent will it make the practice of democracy or the participation in democratic processes attractive to him? I think this is what is important. Now, to the political class also. Now, when you talk about the political class, you know, those in the legislature, those in the executive arms are likely referred to as a political class. But I want to say that even you here, you belong to the political class. I belong to the political class. Analysts belong to the political class. Because they look into politics, they delve into various aspects of politics, as you want us to examine the amended bill that has just been signed into law by the president. Now, the perspectives they bring forward goes a long way to either deepen the discussions or narrow the discussions. You understand what I'm saying? So, for me, I would say it's an advancement. The speed at which the president signed the bill alone is a welcome development. Unlike in the past where bills are signed, the operations of those bills becomes something of litigation. This bill has been signed, people will go to court. Why is it being delayed? Why is it not signed immediately? And we know there are mandatory provisions by the Constitution for how long a bill will stay on the table of the executive before he signs it into law. So I give kudos to the president that this particular bill has been signed with a lot of speed. Now, when you now look at the content of the bill, it's another matter entirely. You understand what I'm saying? They say in all practices, minority will have their say and majority will have their way. Democracy is a game of numbers, wherever it is being practiced in the world. And there is no absolute democracy. There is no best example of democracy. Because the American version, which we, most of the time we mouth about, is still fraught with problems. Ours is a growing democracy. How old is this country? And how old is America? And mind you, democracy is somehow alien to our traditional system of government. Let's look at where we are coming from. You know, in the traditional African system of government, it is largely semi-dictatorial. I will not call it absolute dictatorship, because there are checks and balances within the traditional administrative system that put a check on the overall powers of the Oba. The Oba is both the spiritual head, the political head of the African state. Whatever the Oba says is law. He makes law right from his palace. It's not subject to debate. And once he makes that law, there are no case and the other lesser chief, they will immediately begin to carry out the laws of the Oba. But now we are not saying democracy. Everybody must have a say. The Oba cannot just make laws in total and say this thing, whether you like it or not, you have to. Such Obas were treated. In the old Yoruba culture, they will give him a calabash. And that calabash is symbolic and significant. So we have embraced democracy.
Now, let me come in. You know, civil society activists and some political bigwigs, they are really aggrieved, you know, on these electoral acts that was signed into law. Because of the removal of the phrase real-time transmission of election results from the polling units to the INEC's IRF portal. Why is this phrase very important to election observers and activists and politicians?
Okay, let me ask a question here. What is the definition of real time?
At the moment.
Immediately the election is going, or has been concluded, or as the election is going on. Now, you know, these things, I think at times when we are putting forward some issues, you know, we forget that we are dealing with human beings, right? Now, are you saying as the election is going on, you are transmitting, or immediately the papers are signed, the summary of the day has been taken, total number of voters, total number of vote casts, those that have been accepted, those that are not accepted, then you do a summary. You understand what I'm saying, right? Now, that summary is still in real time so long as the period for the election is not over.
The argument here is that as soon as elections are concluded in a particular polling unit,
yes,
the results should be transmitted immediately, electronically,
yes,
to the INEC's IRF portal. You know, the law, you know, give two options. That where there is no network, results should be transmitted manually.
Yes.
So that's what is causing the bone of contention.
Okay, because the bill does not provide for the use of electronics. And the bill did not say result must be transferred electronically while you are dumping the manual transfer of result. Why did Nigerians agitate for this? You know, when it became a subject of litigation, the court the court posited that INEC is at INEC discretion to determine the mode of transfer of results. And that when you now say INEC should transfer using the electronic method, you are ruling out the possibility of manual transmission in case there are snags. So there is a level of ambiguity in this presentation.
Is INEC saying that they cannot transmit in real time?
Well, we are not quarreling with INEC now. We are quarreling with the bill as it has been passed by the National Assembly. Now, the comfortability with INEC is another matter. INEC says they can. But substitution, when we were looking for a better way to make the result credible.
What's your position?
As an individual, I believe that electronic transfer of result is good. And when you say in real time, that in itself it is subject to discussion and debate. Mind you, there are polling stations where on the day of election, electoral officers will not come early. There are polling stations where INEC officers will come by 12 o'clock, by 11 o'clock. And when you ask why, they'll tell you logistics. And some of these logistics are not traced to the fault of the electoral officers. Most of them come directly from INEC office. Most of them come from logistics. So when you say a retransfer, what are we talking about? I think there should be some flexibility here. But now providing that you must say that the result must be transmitted compulsorily by electronic means and completely ditching the possibility of snags that will result to the transfer of this election manually. So for me, I believe in electronic transmission. The result should be transmitted electronically because it reduces the incidences of manipulation. As the elections are concluded, the summary is made, you transfer immediately. I believe in it.
Okay, just before we let you go, now tell us, as the elections approaches, as the 2027 elections approaches, what do you suggest, you know, for the citizens, for the government, for the stakeholders?
Well, I would suggest that the government, even though a lot of us feel that the government should have listened to the agitations of Nigerians, to make this thing compulsory. Compulsory. And when you say you are making it compulsory, you are ruling out any other as one of the components. They wanted to rule out the issue of manual transfer. Let all transfer be electronic. I will not agree with that. But the results should be transmitted immediately. Elections are concluded. Electronically, yes. Now, what of when the electrical part of it fails? What is going to happen? So I would say we should still allow them. But the issue is that the admissibility of electronic transfer by the court is the main issue. The court should accept results that are transferred electronically. And when there are reasons for results to be transferred manually, genuinely, the court should equally accept them as evidence of credible election. That is where I look at it. And I want Nigerians to be patient. We should not always look at extremities. We should not always come up with definitive angles when we are agitating or asking for things. Because there are a whole lot of factors that could bring about the impossibility of such. There is no utopia state. So long as human beings are involved, there will always be ups and downs.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Deacon Nathaniel Amended, a public affairs analyst. We've been taking a look at the Electoral Act 2026 as amended. Do you think it can guarantee, the new law can guarantee credible elections as 2027 approaches? That's what we've been taking a look at on the program this morning. Stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll go on a short break. When we return, another guest will also join us on the program.
Country people, now VOS TV Naija be the cocoa. We dey into ogbonge news, whether na political news or political rally for your party. We stand up gidigba. Not be only that one, oh, we dey cover all kinds of events: birthday party, wedding party, burial ceremony coverage, graduation ceremony. We dey even do inter-sport event coverage. We go showcase your school to many people, even if not to cover national sport. Also for your church event, anniversary, crusade or harvest, we get professionals wey sabi this work well. VOS TV, then they tested, trusted and reliable. Una fit contact us for 82 First East Circular Road, Benin City, or make una call us for this number 080-2254-7837. Make una follow us on all our social media handle. If una dey think the best, think VOS TV Naija. VOS TV Naija, the right news for all. My country people, now VOS TV Naija be the cocoa. We dey into ogbonge news, whether na political news or political rally for your party. We stand up gidigba. Not be only that one, oh, we dey cover all kinds of events, birthday.
Thank you for staying being there on the program. We'll be taking a look at the Electoral Act that was signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the 2027 general elections. Do you think it will be able to guarantee credible elections as the election approaches? Yes. Just before we dive into the discourse more, let's take a look at the president's. Let me take you to the State House where the president signed the bill into law.
I followed keenly what you are doing. the essence of democracy is to have, very solid brainstorming discussions committed to national development and nation building, the stability of the nation. It's not as important as the history aspect of this. What is crucial is the fact that you manage the process to the extent there will be no confusion, no disenfranchisement of Nigerians, and that we are all going to see democracy flourish. It is time that we have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and the result is finalized by the people. In fact, for final results, you are not going to be talking to the computer, you are going to be talking to human beings who will announce the final results. And when you look at the crux of various arguments, maybe Nigeria should question our broadband capability. How technically are we today? How technically will we be tomorrow to answer the call of either read time or no? And as long as you appear personally as a manual voter in any polling booth, but ballot paper is given to you manually, you decide in a corner and fingerprint.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu there, shortly after signing the bill into law, the Electoral Amendment Bill 2026 into law. Yes, so we've been taking a look at this this bill that has been signed into law. Will it guarantee credible elections as 2027 approaches? Was joined here in the studio by another activist, Comrade Solomon Ijiobe. Good morning,
Good morning, my pleasure.
It's good to have you on the program.
Same here. Viewers at home, good morning.
Yeah, we've been speaking with Deacon Nathaniel Osamede. Thank you for staying here with us on the program this morning.
It's a pleasure.
So let me come to you, Comrade Joe. You heard this president spoke shortly after signing the bill into law. What's your reaction to the speech he made?
I was not disappointed. I actually was disappointed. But I want to say that I have no business explaining to us. It's not his business to explain to us. The business of Mr. President is to sign a document put before him. The analysis around it is not necessary because supposedly it's a collective decision of a representative of a people, whether I call it senators or House of Reps members. It's a document already done. So today is no longer a bill, it's an act because it has been assented to. However, do you think that Mr. President would have already signed that bill if the bill was not favorable to him? I'm sure your guess is as good as mine because we have seen the president, not just one or two. They'll tell you, until this clause is removed, I will not sign. And I remember there was an issue with the Electoral Act, also amendment then. And then the former late President Muhammadu Buhari insisted that until those clauses were removed, he was not going to sign. The ambiguity, of read time and no read time, or the argument, the politicians know. But you see, the truth of the matter remains that the Benin will say, no figure yeki or mine or our. He who throws a stone into a marketplace will not know who exactly that stone will hit. It's rosy for all of them now. But soon, we'll still hear them cry.
Are you optimistic that this bill will guarantee credible elections.
How will it guarantee credible election?
2027?
And I'm telling you that if it will guarantee credible election, Mr. President will not hurriedly sign. By electoral acts, even before this amendment, you are not expected to start campaigns until campaign is lifted by INEC. INEC lifted campaign. As president, not been campaigning since day one in office. Have you not been seeing billboards everywhere of City Boy and Tinubu 2027? Is there no law stating that you must not be seen doing all of this? Have you not been seeing crusades? Now, crusade they call have been campaign rallies of Mr. President. So that's by the wayside. Let me say this very clearly. The Benin will say, an ancestral spirit who decide to set the shrine on fire should not forget that he did not remove the ancestral staff with which it is being served before he decided to set the shrine ablaze. Or whatever goes around comes around. All these ones, see them singing political hallelujah, we'll soon start crying, we'll see here. But again, what would have been better? Real-time electronic transfer, what does it guarantee? Credibility. It makes everybody a participant in the electoral, because election is a process, and the process has started from the signing of this electoral act.
But the argument the president is posing for is that
broadband.
Broadband.
Old one. Are you the one responsible for broadband? It's not the policies of government and programs of government that will enhance broadband purchase or widening. How many of these networks are really having it good? I'm not holding brief for them. I'll address it all. The network providers all use diesel. There's no electricity. And that's part of the result. And that's part of the reasons a lot of them cannot expand. But that is not to say that we do not have broadband coverage. What happens is that we may not have it on one network. It will be because some areas, some catchment area have, because I'm not going to advertise for any service provider. Network A can be in this area more stronger, while network B is in another area more stronger. Now, what the read time also provides for does not necessarily mean that you must stand at Ring Road, you understand, and begin to do your upload. What it means is that within the space provided for in an election, and within the catchment area wherein that election was conducted, when the results are, because results are usually counted in the public glare, announced in the public glare, signed by the agents, it's not a guarantee that they sign that that's what, because the problem is rigging of election starts from immediately after voting to the announcement and transportation. It is the transportation now that is recoined to be transmission real time, because most of the obubuya that happens between the transportation from units to wards to local government to states collation centers. Now between there from units to local government, now these election papers they swear like Igebu Gari.